Morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. We're here to talk about Erik Ten Hag. Understandably, again, we're all waiting on the decision. I've called it a deliberation, which I think is a very fair reflection of what's going on. A deliberation is saying it's like a long and slow and careful decision. And for a lot of United fans, it's too slow. And a lot of United fans are angry. And, oh, INEOS are just another version of the Glazers. And I'm sitting here this morning doing, okie dokie. But we're going to have a conversation about it this morning. The latest from, I say the latest from Sky Sports News. Whatever they're saying on Erik Ten Hag. Also the latest from Fabrizio Romano. We'll have a conversation around INEOS, around Ratcliffe, around Brailsford, Blanc, Wilcox. And just a lot of the discourse I see around what's going on with Erik Ten Hag right now. And then we'll move on to talk about transfers. Omari Forson's going to be leaving in the summer. We're going to speak about Goncalo Inacio. We'll speak about Joao Neves. And I actually think I've got more of a question to ask about the lack of transfers and what's going on there than I do with Erik Ten Hag, which might be a strange thing to say, but I'll explain that later in the show. And as always, I'll answer as many of your comments as possible, all right? I'm going to say a quick good morning to everyone before I definitely say good morning to you, Nuruddin. I see you down there, man. How you doing? Being the guy that you are, the legend that you are. I've got a new 50 video as well. I'm looking forward to showing you this one. But good morning to Vicky, to T. Good morning to both of you. Ant and Carl. Good morning to you. Alex, I see you there as well. Gifting 5 memberships. Let's get a quick going out for you, man, before we bring out the big 50. You see that punch from Zhang at the weekend?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Anybody else love boxing? I love boxing. At the top level, anyway. And who's here from the member gang? Good morning, halftime oranges. We've got Geordie, we've got Teresa, Brian, we've got Chris, Amy, Mike, Tobago, Craig, Stephanie. Who's on Facebook? We've got Amos. How you doing, man? We've got Teresa, Kenny, Johnny, Dal, Stephen, Wayne, and Carl. I can't wait to at some point do some sort of live show because I think it'll be awesome. I was thinking about when I was in Brighton. I was thinking, how cool would it be to just like rent a pub out, do some sort of live podcast before, watch the game together, just get drunk, and then do a match reaction after. I think that would be the perfect sort of United People's TV party. But Nuruddin, how are you doing, my man? Go away for a few days, you come back, you're like Santa. You really, really are. But big up to you for gifting 50 memberships. I can't say any more big ups. I really, really can't. But I think you'll enjoy this video. I've been waiting to play this one, and now we've got a chance to. Yeah, I've had that one sitting there waiting. That's a cracking way to start the show, though. That really is a cracking way to start the show. I might have to keep that one for a while, by the way. I know I like to change the video every time on 50 memberships, but that one's... I mean, I'm going to have to keep that one for a little while, all right? For a little while. No way am I getting rid of that. Right, let's dive into the show. As always, please fire in your comments and your questions. I will try and answer as many as I can throughout the show. And no doubt there's going to be there is plenty of frustration among United fans right now. Because for a lot of you, it feels like we're kind of sitting on our hands. Euro starts in 10 days. 10 days. What's going on? 32 months membership for you, T. How you doing, man? But look, just want to say quick congratulations to Michael Carrick. I suppose congratulations to Middlesbrough as well. He signed a new contract. So Kieran McKenna staying at Ipswich, Michael Carrick staying at Middlesbrough. Was it in his first season at Middlesbrough? I can't remember if it was his first season. I think it was, where he got Middlesbrough to the playoffs. And I can't remember who they lost against, but they got to the playoffs. Was it Leeds? It might have been Leeds. I can't remember. They lost, I think, in the playoff semi. Or was it Sheffield Wednesday? I can't remember. I don't think it was Sheffield Wednesday. And then the second season, last season, they didn't have quite as good a season, but Michael Carrick's enjoying himself there. And I think he's done well there too. Box, you just said it down there. 2 solid seasons at Middlesbrough, and I hope he continues improving. I can't remember what team it was. Somebody in the comments needs to let me know. Who was it that he lost to in the first in the playoffs in his first season at Middlesbrough? Can't remember. Oh man, look at that! Everyone's feeling generous this morning. The community's coming out. Jonathan Jonkman, big up to you, John. I think this is still Gary Neville.
Oh, Chin!
Come on, Gary. I even laughed on cue there. Big up to you, John. But look, there's a couple of things I want to speak about around football before we dive into the show. And I want to say this, right? Have you seen how ridiculous the French Olympic squad is? It's obviously got the Euros coming on. I don't think anybody from here from the Euros is in this squad. Man, have they got some talented players. You've obviously got Lenny Yoro, Castello Luqueba. We've been linked with him. I think he's from Leipzig. Bradley Locker, I think we got linked with him as well. Adrian Truffert, got linked with him too. I think all these names are on the board. Zaire Emery, of course, from PSG. Kefren Turan from Nice. Desire Doué, I think he's the 18-year-old, and lots of people have been speaking about him. And then up front, you've got Jean-Philippe Mateta and, of course, Michael Elise. Lacazette is there as one of the overage players. Matthias Telf from Bayern Munich. Bradley Bacola. Man, this French team is silly. But the one down there is one of interest for us. Michael Elise is going to be playing in the Olympics. So hypothetically, we sign Michael Elise and France reach, and you see a squad like that, you'd expect them to. France reach the finals in the Olympics. I don't actually know when the football tournament starts or finishes, but the Olympics don't start until like the 26th of July. So Elise wouldn't be coming on the full pre-season tour, hypothetically, if we were to sign him. And also a little second squad that's been released. This is the Argentina Olympic squad, and you'll see there's no Alejandro Garnacho. So confirmation there that Garnacho's not in the Olympic squad for Argentina. So if he is going to be playing international football this summer, it's going to be with Argentina at the Copa America. Right? Not in the Olympics, which we knew about yesterday, but that's just confirmation of it there. And as I said, if I was to choose which one I think Alejandro Garnacho would rather do, I think he'd rather go to the Copa America. So fingers crossed. Box, you're saying the Olympics football tournament is 24th of July to the 10th of August. Well, there you go. That's my point. So, hypothetically, Elise is signed by United, and hypothetically, France get to the final. And with a team like that, you probably think they would. And it's in France, and the final is in Parc de France. I think it is anyway. That means he'll be gone until the 10th of August. First game of the season is the 17th of August. Problems. Anyway, before we start talking about problems of players that we might potentially sign, let's actually talk about... we got to talk about the problem, really, about the manager. I can't believe I managed to go away for a few days and madness didn't kick off. I was like, finally, I can actually switch off. And I come back, and we had I've really enjoyed the live show yesterday. I enjoy the live shows every day. I genuinely enjoy having a chat with the community. Chris, you're saying it down there as well, and I think we all do. There's definite frustration, right, around what's going on with Erik Ten Hag, and I'd say there's a little bit of confusion as well, because I've tried to explain what my sort of logic has been this whole time, or what my thought process has been. I always felt, going into the end of the season, that INEOS had already made their mind up, and that the FA Cup final, regardless of what happened, wouldn't really change their mind. However, kind of what we're seeing here is it feels like it did. It feels like they hadn't completely reached their conclusion of what's going on with Erik Ten Hag. Remember before the final, Jacob Steinberg jumping on saying that Erik Ten Hag's going to be sacked regardless. Gianluca Di Marzio said the same thing as well. So either they were all making it up, which is a possibility, or their information was just wrong. But either way, we still don't know what's going on. And as I said, what an update this is from Sky Sports News. Like, groundbreaking stuff. It is mad how much they have fallen off. Probably in the last, I don't know how many years to call it really. 4 or 5 for sure. Maybe a little bit longer. It's just been a slow decline. I suppose it's kind of the growth of independent news channels. Independent ones like this. Like, I like to think that a lot of you come here because it feels like if you're going to get the most accurate United news you possibly can, you come to United People's TV. That's what I've always positioned United People's TV at. And I hope you get that. But yeah, Sky Sports, man, they have fallen off a cliff. They really, really have. Apparently I missed a super chat in here. Did I? I don't think I did. Nope, there's nothing down there. There's some member chats, but nothing there, Alex. But anyway, this is quite an important little conversation talking point. And this is from Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Of course, Fabrizio and David Ornstein. David Ornstein is, for me, number one. And I don't really particularly think it's close. Fabrizio's gone down the path of more is better. And a ton of his information is very, very accurate. But Fabrizio is going 24/7, man. Has anybody seen the Fabrizio merch? Who's buying that? Somebody tell me. I've been doing it all wrong. Just need to get merch with a big picture of my face on it, or maybe some Twitter. It's that was an interesting decision from Fabrizio and the team. But Fabrizio reporting there that Man United have been making contact with agents of other managers. And there are still some managers out there, right? And I always said that going into this summer, it felt like Manchester United were going to have to be decisive and swift with what they're doing, because Liverpool are looking for a manager, Barcelona are looking for a manager, Bayern Munich looking for a manager. And Liverpool have gone for Arne Slot. Nobody would have guessed that. Bayern Munich have tried everything, and then they looked in a bargain bucket in the back and they found a Vincent Kompany, and they got him. Barca got Hansi Flick, which is a good enough manager, a decent enough manager. But there's still a lot of managers out there. Now, not all of them, I think, should be considered. You've got De Zerbi, you've got Poch, and you've got, in my opinion, Tuchel is... I've said this in my video the other week. I said it feels pretty much like... well, to me it did anyway. I thought there was an argument about McKenna. Now, no, not everybody would have agreed that, right? But I thought there was an argument to be posed about McKenna. It would have been a massive risk, but I think there was an argument to have. And then I think Thomas Tuchel. I think they were the only two that I think you can have any sort of argument about. Whether it's those two or not, we don't quite know. But a lot of people are now using this as... I think I've said this before, and it really feels like it. There were so many people, and I'm going to unfortunately take myself back in time a little bit and remember what was going on around the takeover. And so many people were so... Is it obsessed? I don't know the right word to describe it. But they were so in the Qatari takeover camp and the concept of them taking United over and all the debt leaving, and the debt's still a big problem, by the way. I'll tell you what, nothing's really been said about that. Kind of, there's so many big things going on right now that kind of is like a lurking in the background. But it will rear its head again when we talk about Old Trafford development and what's going on next, because United are still servicing that debt. But so many people were so pro Qataris that INEOS were just a bad guy straight away and started off on a negative foot. And I've already explained this on more than one occasion. People are like, oh, INEOS have done nothing. They're just a Glazers V2. And it's just like, it just hurts my head. It hurts my head that people can just be so dumb. Because it is. It really, really is. Now, there are fair questions to ask about delays. And there are fair questions to... Yeah, I'm not here suggesting that INEOS are God's gift to football owners and they are the best thing since sliced bread or anything like that. But to try and go from Everything that's happened so far, and there's been some massive frustrations and delays. Omar Barada would be in if we didn't have gardening leave. Dan Ashworth would already be in if Newcastle weren't being absolute whoppers, but they are. But to try and suggest that INEOS are just the Glazers V2, like, piss off. Like, properly just piss off. Because I've watched what the Glazers have done to my football club for nearly 15, 20 years. And that's you just undermining all of that just because INEOS aren't doing exactly what you want as soon as you want them to. That's what it feels like. It feels like kids slapping their knife and fork on the table a lot of the time. Like, do not throw, and it's like stuff like this. I hate to use Swedish Rumble as an example, but I think this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? Some of the stuff I get sent threads by Swedish Rumble all the time, by a lot of people. All of this here is about questioning INEOS and questioning decisions and saying, well, what's Dan Ashworth actually done? I mean, is he best in class? What's Jason Wilcox done? I mean, is he best in class? So truth be told, INEOS haven't actually got best in class. And INEOS, they don't really know what they're doing. And here we go. And yeah, there's a lot of guff. A lot of guff. So by that same logic, my friend, you would probably say that Michael Edwards is not best in class because Michael Edwards only came through Portsmouth, only came through and just did a little bit of work at Tottenham. Oh, he's not best in class, apart from the fact that he's instrumental at Liverpool and he's worked his way the whole way through Liverpool. And then you look at Dan Ashworth, and Dan Ashworth, what he did at West Brom, and then he went to the FA, and then he's gone to Brighton, and then he's gone to Newcastle. No, but Dan Ashworth's done absolutely nothing because he hasn't done what I wanted as soon as I wanted it to happen. You wanted, right? We all wanted a football operation at our club, and we haven't quite got one yet, right? We wanted this. We wanted INEOS to come in and install. Omar Barada was a curveball, and it took everyone by surprise. But they'd done their due diligence. They spoke to enough people in the industry, and Omar Barada's name was there. I think it's fair to have. It's really genuinely fair. I'm not here suggesting that you can't question INEOS, but people are taking it way down to the extreme down there, and it's just that's the world that we live in. We live in the world of extremes. You can't just question someone. You have to go the whole way down there, and you have to question well, that appointment. This is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong, this is wrong. They just haven't made their mind up yet. And I think you know what that in itself is. It kind of feels like it must just be indecision. It feels like maybe not everyone's on the same wavelength in INEOS. Teresa, you're saying I was very anti-Qatar, but it doesn't mean I'm not frustrated with INEOS. I'm seeing the same people have frustration towards it. That's fine. But some people are going as far as putting them in the same category as the Glazers. And we wanted a football operations, and sometimes things can take time. Right? To use Jim Ratcliffe's words here, himself.
How far behind are you to them?
A long way behind them at the moment, yeah. No, we are. Yeah, that's why I say it's, this is, it's not a light, so it's not going to change tomorrow. People need, unfortunately, to give us a little bit of time to get back to where we should be.
What, next season?
No, it won't be next season. It'll be 2 to 3 seasons. I think that would be silly to say that by next season we'll be at the same level of Manchester. I mean, it took Pep a few years to get to where he got to in Manchester City. He's not been there 2 seasons, so it takes time and a bit of patience. And we need to walk to the right solutions, not run to the wrong solution. So just spending money lavishly in the summer is not the answer. There's a lot more. It's a lot more complicated than that.
I remember when he first said that. Where is it? Here. Walk to the right solutions, not run to the wrong ones. And when that came out, a ton of people. Oh, that's what you want to hear. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's what we want. That's. And then it's happening now. And then people are, yeah, and you know what it is, right? Ultimately, it's this. It's got nothing to do with INEOS. It's to do with the overwhelming majority of fans now want Erik Ten Hag to be in charge next season. And if INEOS don't make that decision, they're making the decision that those fans don't want to hear. And therefore, it's a problem. But as has been the case for a long time, if Erik Ten Hag is sacked, it's not because he's a bad manager. It's because he doesn't fit the game model. And that's where my question lies, right? That's where my question lies about INEOS. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not here suggesting that nobody can question INEOS. I just think people are just going a bit over OTT with it. But I think where the issue is that surely by this point, Jason Wilcox, whatever Omar Bradley's doing in the background, and Dave Brailsford, surely you've decided on your game model by now. Surely. I mean, the season ended over a week ago. You'd already been there doing your audit of Ten Hag and the whole team and everything there. So surely the game model's already decided. And if that is the case, then surely you know whether Erik Ten Hag can fit it or not. And that's where I think the issue is because has that not been done? Or has that been done, but then you've got other people saying, well, hold on. He's won the FA Cup. And mitigating circumstances. Let's not try and pretend that this is a straightforward decision. If it is, it would have been done. Maybe I'm going overboard. Maybe I'm going overboard. You know what? There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out, all right? Alex, you're saying Jim Ratcliffe is testing fan patience by walking to the right decision, not running to the wrong one. It feels like longer it takes, the more Ten Hag stays. Any talk of others feels more like contingency planning. I think I'd probably disagree with that in the sense that I think the longer it goes on, well, I don't know. It's like never quit your job before you've got a new job, right? That's what I was always told. I did it a couple of times. Anyway, is that just what INEOS are doing? Don't sack the manager before you've got a new manager. All lined up. But if that was the case, you would have done that earlier. And we were in contact with McKenna before the FA Cup. We were in contact with Poch in the lead, just in the build-up to the FA Cup. We were already doing our contingency planning. Nick saying, wouldn't be too disappointed if Forson leaves. Not really sure he's good enough. Be a bonus if we manage to get a 15 to 20% sell-on clause. Well, we won't get anything, Nick, because you'll leave on a free transfer. So, Amari Forson, we'll speak about it a little bit later in the show. There's going to be a big transfer section. Just going to finish off this conversation before we move on to it. Premium saying, how will social media fans make money without chaos? I'm not here, and maybe I was a bit strong. I'm not here suggesting that nobody can have frustrations towards INEOS, because you can. You can have frustrations towards any player, any manager in the world, because nobody's perfect. But I do think some are going so far to sort of question every decision. INEOS have come into this football club and appointed a CEO. They've appointed a technical director. They've got rid of Richard Arnold. They got rid of John Murto. They've started rebuilding Carrington as much as they can already this summer. They've already got a plan in place and a task force to rebuild or build a brand new stadium, rebuild Old Trafford or a brand new stadium. They've got all of this in place. And Dan Ashworth will be coming in too. And they've now got a new head physio, having to sack the old head physio. I could list to you a long old list of things that the INEOS have done since February that the Glazers didn't do in near enough 20 years. Prince, those are open goals, Sam. Yeah, those same open goals that the Glazers looked the other way for 20 years. Well done, mate. Well done, mate. I see some people speaking down there about an appointment that's just been made. I think let's have a little quick peek what's going on here. It's quite ironic, really. Given that people are questioning Manchester United's ability to communicate right now, we have just made another appointment. Let's pull this up here. I can't remember the name of the bloke who left. What was it? Ellie Norman. I thought that was... Anyway, so we're appointing a new head of communications. Right, let's pull this up here, see what they're doing. Former Chelsea employee. Old Trafford's new chief communications officer. I wonder what their job role is. Craig. Despite the job title remaining the same, it's thought the role has been substantially rescoped, while Normus was also communications and public affairs. So internal PR, if you want to call it that. I suppose you can call it that. The move tallies with INEOS' drive to ensure football and what happens on the pitch is the priority. And that's not really a major appointment. I'll be totally truthful. That's not an appointment which is really going to change too much in how the football operations run at our football club. That's just INEOS continuing to build their set of trusted administrators, if you want to call it that. I suppose you can say it's important in that sense. No, that's the Daily Mail down there, and I'm sure it's been reported elsewhere as well. But I don't know. I think I'm frustrated that there's not confirmation on Erik Ten Hag's future 10 days before the Euros. But I'm equally as frustrated as some United fans trying to completely undermine some good foundations that INEOS have done simply because of a delay on a decision with Erik Ten Hag. And some people are now suggesting that Jean-Claude Blanc, a man who went and helped Juventus through their most difficult period in history when they got relegated, convinced the likes of Gianluigi Buffon, Del Piero, I can't remember who else was there, to stay at the club despite being relegated, and helped them to build a new stadium. And he went to PSG and built them into the digital... They're probably the leading new digital club, if you want to call it that. Their ties with Air Jordan, and like he tapped into the Paris fashion brand and linked that to PSG and made them into a marketing behemoth. But no, he doesn't know anything about football because I haven't made a decision with Erik Ten Hag. It's like one thing's happening over here, and you're comparing and you're linking it to something over there. It's just, I don't know. You don't have to undermine everything here simply because Erik Ten Hag, we haven't got a decision over it yet. I think that's the point I'm trying to make overall. I probably didn't articulate in the best way there. But maybe that's exactly why we've got a new communications chief. Steve, I think that's probably a fair way to write it there. Are we pulling down the new management before we've even begun? That's what it feels like. For some, that's what not a lot of the reaction, but that's what some of the reaction feels like. Like before we've actually even got our CEO, who can't start until the 12th of July, before we've even got our sporting director, because Newcastle are being children, before we've even got these two people who we praised their appointments before they're even in place, we're saying that INEOS have got it wrong. It's just strange. It's just strange. And you know the thing I'm actually confused about more, right? Okay, I'll switch to the second part of the show now. We'll talk about transfers. Look at that, half an hour, bang on. That was accidental. Amari Forson is going to be leaving Manchester United on a free transfer, right? And that's because remember, okay, this is what happens. Youth players, as soon as they turn 17, I think it's 17, they can sign their first professional contract at the club. Standard. Or was it 18? Was it 17 or 18? Shea Lacey just signed one. Was it 16? I can't remember the age now. Ladies and gents, what age is it? 16 or 17? Who just signed one? Oh, can't bloody remember. Damn it. Anyway, it's one of those two. 16 or 17. Either way, I think it's 17. Amari Forson's contract ran out. And he didn't want to sign a new contract. Therefore, he left. That's why he's leaving. Man United, people are looking at this again. I saw this yesterday. And maybe it's because you know what? I probably just spend too much time on Twitter. Probably do. Right? Because it's a cesspit a lot of the time. It is nothing like the community that we've got here and the actual conversations that we can have. But he didn't want to sign a new contract. He's leaving. Good luck to him. But that's not going to be like, oh, I can't believe we've lost another youth player for nothing sort of thing. Like, it's just he didn't want to sign a contract. There's nothing more that we could have done there. He had time. And I don't really think we're going to be missing Amari Forson that much. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, but I think the players we've got coming through, I think we'll be fine. But you know what, right? You know the thing I'm finding most confusing about Erik Ten Hag's situation right now, and I might even do this as a lunchtime video today, right? The thing that I'm finding the most confusing is this. So, obviously, Dan Ashworth's not involved right now. Jason Wilcox has been at the club now for, I think, around about 6-7 weeks-ish, thereabouts. And his job was to come in and audit the football operation, the football side of things. Right? Go and speak to Erik Ten Hag. Go and speak to the players. What's your relationship with Erik Ten Hag? Is he a good communicator? Is he a good coach? Are there problems? Has he lost the dressing room? To find out the actual inner workings of what's going on. And also to establish the game model, which we've heard about. And if Erik Ten Hag is indeed sacked, he will be sacked by INEOS, not because he's not playing with an expensive, or he's not playing with two central midfielders. He's going to be sacked because INEOS have absolutely decided on the game model, and they don't think that Ten Hag is the best man to achieve it. That's why he would be sacked, and that's why I'm confused as to why nothing is really going on with transfers, right? Because previously, Man United's transfers have been completely linked to the manager, right? It's who the manager wants. Whereas now, if we're talking truthfully and we're saying, well, we've got a game model, then it doesn't matter who our manager is because we're not signing for the manager. We are therefore signing towards that game model. Therefore, why are we not sort of advancing deals? I think that's the biggest question I would have about all of it. Because right now, they all seem to be intrinsically linked. But if we really are truly moving towards the game model, then there shouldn't be. And we should already be able to be putting bids in. But maybe, look, Jonathan's put it down there on Facebook. And I hope you're right, because I would love this. Maybe they're just keeping their cards close to the chest. It could well be. Look, INEOS were... It was impressive how quiet they kept the Omar Barada situation. Dan Ashworth stuff, I think that was pretty well known, but that was a proper curveball. And the CEO is pretty much the most important appointment you can make. Jason Wilcox stuff was kind of known quite ahead of time. And maybe they're just keeping their cards close to their chest. But you know how the Kieran McKenna stuff came out, and it came from the Chelsea side. The same sort of thing exists when it comes to transfers. As strong as INEOS could be, maybe in keeping those leaks in, there's going to be people on the other side of the transfer, an agent, a family member, or somebody else who could gain something and maybe a little bit in negotiations by leaking something. So when it comes to transfers, it's extremely hard because you've got two different sides to the coin. Two different parties, both interested from different angles. And in that sense, it's very hard to keep stuff behind closed doors and to keep the leaks away. With Omar Barada, it was one dude, CEO. Nobody stood to gain anything by it being leaked. So it didn't get leaked. I don't know. I'd find it. That's all. I find it a little bit strange. We're going to speak about transfers next and what the reports are saying. Is it really Jason Wilcox or is it Lee Mack? I just quite like Lee Mack. What's happened to him? Tyrell, you're saying my judge of INEOS starts at the beginning of the season, much like a new signing. Sam does a great job of not judging too early. Look, man, I'm not flawless. Jeez, man, the amount of mistakes I make on this channel. Jeez. It's just that my opinion goes on video. People can criticize and people can question. I'm not suggesting that they cannot. But I think people are going overboard with it. That's the thing. That's the thing for me that I just wanted to speak about this morning. I'm getting frustrated with it. I don't really think Erik minds that much. He's there jamming. He's having a bit of a holiday. Finally a holiday. But I suppose I think he kind of wants to know as well now. And Em, you're saying, I'm so sick of this club. What a mess. It's exhausting. I think what partly makes it exhausting, and I'm always quite aware of this, and this, ladies and gents, is why I only do one live show a day. Because I could, if I wanted to, I could do more. But it's sort of that self-serving cycle or circle, whatever you want to call it. The more you put into it, the more the expectations of immediacy come into it. Because if I haven't heard anything in the next 6 hours, then something's wrong. If I haven't heard anything in the next 12 hours, something is catastrophically wrong. Whereas sometimes things can take time. And that has sort of reduced the patience that fans would have. Because it has to come now. Yeah, Steve, thank you for the comment down there saying it's possible to disagree and still have respect. And I think that's what the comments in here, and I say a big up to Ant, to Carl, to Alex, to Vicky, to Josh, to everybody else who helps moderate the chat. Because it can't be easy. But you can disagree. Sometimes we disagree. Sometimes I don't disagree. Sometimes I don't agree with you. And vice versa. Retiring would be nice at some point. In the distant future. But look, at least we're getting 80 mil for Casemiro, ladies and gents. Come on. 80 mil? Jeez. Where is it?
Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Even if we sell him, I'm keeping that soundbite for a long old time. All right? It's not happening, by the way, ladies and gents. All right? 80 million. Laughable. Absolutely laughable. I'll tell you what's quite funny. Have you seen Amrabat's brother, who, by the way, is definitely Amrabat's brother? They're related. Jeez. Anyway, he's saying this. He said, look, Casemiro was not injured in the FA Cup final. He found out that he wouldn't start, so he thought to himself, okay, I will sit in the stands then. And he was fit to play. So his brother's coming out. He's coming out swinging for Casemiro because he's in the corner of Amrabat, right? He wants his brother to get that permanent contract. And Andy Mitten wrote an article here. If you want to go over it, I'll drop the link actually. Let me give it here. It's just an article from Andy on Amrabat and sort of the situation. And I thought this was quite an interesting line in it. So Amrabat went to see Erik Ten Hag and pleaded to start a game in his favoured number 6 position. And that was at a time where Ten Hag was under pressure. And against Arsenal, we did switch it. Amrabat did play there. And for the next few games, he did. And I think Amrabat was massively misused for the majority of the season that he was at Manchester United. profile-wise. And when he came in, I was looking at him in the system of 1 number 6, 2 number 8s. And when Amrabat had all that space to cover, he looked like he was running through treacle. Looked like a tank running. And it was an issue. Whereas in the last 3-4 games of the season, when Manchester United, when Erik Ten Hag finally gave up on that system, which was at the core of our problems, really, across that and the injuries and everything else in between. But that system of 1 number 6, 2 number 8s, when he switched it, like Ethan, you're saying, when did he play number 6 on his own? I'm not sure there was a match where specifically he played. There may have been one game where he played in the Casemiro role. Well, that's what I would have called it. When it was the proper number 6 and 2 number 8s. But even when we were playing with Cobby, he was operating as the deeper of the 2 central midfielders. So not a typical number 6 per se, but 2 central midfield positions. That's where we saw Amrabat being decent. And his best performance came in the FA Cup final against the best opposition. Look, my video goes out today. It's either today or tomorrow. I haven't decided what day I'm going to do it. And it's going to be my dream summer window. I'm going to lay out all the signings I would like to see United make, how much they cost, and all the sales I think we could do and how much they cost. Right. And Amrabat isn't part of that. I think Amrabat will go this summer, right? I don't think Man United will exercise the option. But if they did, I'd be fine with it. If Man United decided, right, okay, next season in the squad that we're building, because Casemiro shouldn't be part of it, and Eriksen shouldn't be part of it, and Hannibal shouldn't be part of it. So there's going to be space in that midfield. If we decide that we're going to be switched into that game model where we're going to be playing 2 central midfielders, then I think there's a position for Casemiro. There's a position for Amrabat. And then I also question, could United, if we scout properly and we had 20 million on the market, could we do better than Amrabat? And that's not for me to, I suppose, decide. That's for Manchester United scouts and the data to provide. I personally don't think that Amrabat will be here next season, but if he is, I think I'll be fine with it. If we ended up using him how we should have used him across the course of a whole season. Because he was much better, right? Peter saying, Sam, do you think his brother was right to come out with that information? That's his... Look, his brother... You got to back your family, man. You're backing your family. That's all his brother's doing here. He's making sure that Casemiro goes out the door. Because he wants to increase the opportunity, even if it's by 1 or 2%, he wants to increase the possibility of his brother coming in the door. So that is a comment with motive. All right? That's just the way it works. But look, as well, as on top of the 80 million that we're going to be getting for Casemiro, which is great money, we're getting 128 million for Bruno Fernandes as well. Didn't you know? So over 200 mil we are getting for 2 players. Jeez. Anyway, caught offside. Caught offside are having a lot of fun. They're just like putting the grade out going, Casemiro. How much? How much do you reckon? 60? No, a bit more. 80 million for Casemiro. How much? That's me throwing grenades for that, before I let you know. How much for Bruno? 128 mil. 128 mil, lads. I want to work in the court offside office. I reckon it'll be good fun. But look, Florian Plettenberg, who I think works for Sky Sports Germany, saying currently from the Bayern Munich perspective, de nada on Bayern Munich, on Bruno Fernandes. And I think I've said this a few times before, and I'll say it again, right? Man United have got a lot of stuff to do this summer, all right? And spoiler, we're not going to get it all done. So if you think I want United to even entertain any, I don't care what the offer is. Like we cannot afford at this stage we are now currently at with this squad and this team to let our best player go. And if you really genuinely trust Man United to replace Bruno Fernandes, even if you have 128 mil, I don't. I don't at all. I remember what happened when we sold Ronaldo. I remember, well, just typically when United sell very important players, Man United very much struggle to replace them. We've not really got it right. I'm sure there has been, maybe there has been some occasions, but Jason, I can't disagree with you anymore. We definitely can let Bruno go. I'm staggered that there's United. I've just been staggered with how a lot of United fans have seen Bruno Fernandes this whole season, and I'm just staggered that any United fan would genuinely think, and maybe they don't, just trying to troll me, would genuinely think that we, in this summer where we need 2 centre-backs, probably a left-back, at least 1 central midfielder, a right winger and a striker, you can do all of that and sell and replace Bruno. It's like you are playing Football Manager. I don't even know who you get at that price that would genuinely replace Bruno. Like, people have mentioned Florian Wirtz before. And my God, did he have a good season at Bayer Leverkusen. Would I back him to come into this team as dysfunctional as it was and get 28 goals or assists? Nope. I'm not sure there's anybody that I would confidently say, yeah, he'd come in and he'd be delivering somewhere between 20 and 30 goal contributions, guaranteed every season. I just don't think it would. Any conversations around Bruno? I don't think they should even exist next year, but if they're going to exist anywhere, they're definitely existing next season and not this season. Mason Mount, 60 mil. Whoop. Mason Mount will have a better season next season, which isn't really too difficult. I'll be totally honest. Look, moving on to another couple of players, transfer gossip-wise, because it's still just at the gossip stage, right? I've got this whole board here, 67 names on it, but it's the 4th of June, and we haven't really had kind of a... I did a transfer show at the start saying, look, well, here's the board, updated, brilliant. I put all the effort into doing it, I haven't really used it. Dakir, my faith in Mount is disturbing. How can you possibly have any sort of faith that a player that you signed and was injured for 75% of the time is going to be a better player next season? Yeah, that is disturbing, isn't it? I think Man United misappropriated that use of 60 mil. I agree with you all on that one. I also think Mason Mount is going to be a better player next season. Simply for the fact that he's, let's hope so, is going to play a little bit more than 20-25% of the season. But Goncalo Inacio, this one's a little bit strange, I suppose. I suppose not too strange, because we are getting linked with a lot of left centre-backs, right centre-backs, couple of left-backs. You've already done the poll yesterday. And make sure you check out the community tab. We're going to be doing one every day. And then at the end of it, we're going to build like a community 11 in a formation. And at left back, I think you went for Gutierrez from Girona. So today's video will be about left centre-back, and he's going to be one of the options. You've got Jared Branthwaite, you've got Goncalo Inacio, you've got John Luchumi from Bologna, and there's some other ones. Inacio is a left-sided centre-back, Alex, and Todibo is a right-sided centre-back. It's not picking one over the other. They're different positions. He would be an alternative to Jared Branthwaite. Whereas on the right-hand side, that's where you look at Lenny Yoro. That's where you look at Todibo. And there's some other ones you could throw into that as well. But Goncalo Inacio, apparently we're, I don't know, monitoring FC. Apney saying, this squad shat its bed in 2 games without Bruno, and no structure can fix holes in this squad and replace Europe's best chance creator in one with dude. This is what I mean about some people having some wobbly opinions. Look, an opinion can't be wrong. There's a definition of an opinion. But I don't know how anybody can honestly, with chest, argue, yeah, we should sell Bruno Fernandes this summer and think that we're going to be a better team next year. And think that, yeah, we're going to spend that money, we're going to sign this. It's brilliant. It is just not going to happen. Jason, Bruno's a king of midfielders, confirmed by Pep And Kevin De Bruyne. The best signing since Fergie. That's not even close, man. It really isn't close. Tyrell, you're saying, are you going to do some Olympics content? Yep, I'm going to be covering the long jump and the triple jump with some live streaming from the athletics track. I'm going to do the 1500 back-to-back with the 800. I did javelin at school once. I was crap. I thought, it's one thing, I'd be all right at javelin. And I was like, phew. It did not go far. And I was bad at running. I'm not an athlete. That's for sure. I like swimming, though. Do a bit of swimming. I like the Olympics. Did anybody go to the Olympics in London? I was living in London at the time. And I probably I was surprised by how swept up in it I got. I loved it. I really loved it. And I might watch a bit of footy. I'll watch the Olympics. just don't expect any content on it. I'm trying to plan out what we're doing for the Euros. Got the Euros first. Jeez. Alex Humblebrag, you went to the opening ceremony. That's not fair. I watched it in my flat in Dulwich on a TV. That's all I got. But anyway, another random bit of transfer tosh here this morning. Man United have put a £51 million bid in for Joao Neves, which they've rejected. Probably around about the max that United are going to be paying for any player is somewhere in the region of 50 to 60 mil. And I think that's only going to be one player that we're going to sign at that price. I don't think it's going to be a summer where we sign like 3-4 players north of 50 mil. I think it's going to be, I don't know. I swear his release clause was more than 85 mil anyway. Like, guys, he's a very good player. I know that because of his size, people look at him and go, well, he won't survive in the Premier League, but I've watched a fair amount of him. I've watched a bit on Y Scout as well. He's far stronger than he looks. Really, really strong in the duel. Just an all-round baller and somebody who can progress the ball. I don't know what his release clause is. There's no way we're getting him 51 mil. I don't really think United are going to go sniffing around him because of the price. Yeah, tosh. So yeah, you've got that sort of transfer news. Then you've got a bit of, a little bit of this from caught offside on Bruno Fernandes. 128 mil, and then you've got a little bit of this on Casemiro, 80 mil. Ooh, lovely. I think the papers are just really, really struggling because they're just sitting there waiting for a decision on Erik Ten Hag. It kind of feels like they're making stuff up. But last minute or two of the show, fire in your questions. I appreciate I might have gone in a bit harsh there on some people, but I think I just find it frustrating because I waited nearly 20 years for there to be a different owner. And right now, it's not a different owner, but there's somebody else in charge of football operations. And now people are just undermining everything that they're doing because they're taking probably a week, probably about 10 days longer than they think that they should be taking over Erik Ten Hag. If it was a week ago, it would have been, 3 days after the FA Cup final. So we're roughly about a week behind where people, I suppose, expected to hear about Erik Ten Hag. And look at the reaction we're getting by a week. It's mad. When is Ten Hag back from holiday? I'll drop him a message on WhatsApp and I'll ask him. All right, I'll let you know tomorrow. What are you saying down here? No leaks coming out of United. Papers are really struggling. Ross, you're saying release clause 103 million. Don't know. Do you think INEOS will make Erik Ten Hag announcement before the Euros? See, if they don't make it before the Euros, then I've got a problem. No way you can go into that. I mean, there is actually. But that would be foolish, surely. I don't know. We'll see. Nuruddin, what are you saying, man? You're saying Erik Ten Hag, let them take their time. You have remained calm throughout. You're the most zen man in the community. Finished Shogun the other day. That was a good show. And then what did we start? We started 3 Body Problem, made by the writers who dusted off Game of Thrones. No spoilers. A couple of episodes into that. I do love a good sci-fi. Everyone likes good sci-fi, right? As it stands, there's no announcement on Erik Ten Hag. The longer it goes on, the longer it feels like... I don't know, just longer it feels like INEOS looking elsewhere. And they're trying to make these contingency plans. I don't really know. I'm trying my best to interpret it as accurately as I possibly can, but we are guessing. At some point, we won't be guessing. We'll get an announcement. When that happens, I'll be here. You know that. Make sure you do please drop a like on the video, ladies and gents. I say this every day, but a lot of you watch, and it's amazing that you all tune in, but just drop a like on the video. Come on. Makes a big difference. But much love. I'll get my lunchtime video out today. I didn't put one out yesterday because I didn't really think there was a talking point that was worthy of a lunchtime video. So I didn't do one. Today there will be. All right? Billy, I can see you down there catching the live stream. Take it easy, everyone. I'll be here tomorrow morning, as always, and maybe I'll be here late today after an announcement on Erik Ten Hag. I don't know.